told you that being black is not a race, but a color? And what if I told you that the name African American is actually a name given to you by the people who oppressed your ancestors? And what if I told you that the book, the Bible, is actually the black man's book, the book of law and prophecy and things to come in the future? And what if I told you that you've been lied to by religious systems in America and throughout the world, the church, that they won't tell you where you really come from, and that the prophecy in Deuteronomy 28:15-68 actually applies to you? These things and more coming up next.
Overnight, The View co-host Whoopi Goldberg suspended for 2 weeks for her comments about the Holocaust. Yashar'EL has the story. Good morning, Ariel.
Good morning to you, George. Though Goldberg has apologized, her comments sparked a firestorm, some seeing this as a troubling sign of fading understanding about the horrors of the Holocaust. This morning, ABC News suspending Whoopi Goldberg for 2 weeks in response to her inflammatory remarks about the Holocaust. ABC News President Kim Godwin saying in a statement, effective immediately, I am suspending Whoopi Goldberg for 2 weeks for her wrong and hurtful comments. While Whoopi has apologized, I've asked her to take time to reflect and learn about the impact of her comments. The entire ABC News organization stands in solidarity with our Jewish colleagues, friends, family, and communities.
If you're going to do this, then let's be truthful about it, because the Holocaust isn't about race.
On Monday's show, the host of ABC's The View inaccurately claimed the Holocaust was not related to race.
It's not about race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man. That's what it's about. Whoopi Goldberg.
Goldberg appearing to double down on the Colbert Show that night.
The American experience tends to be based on skin.
Yes. And so that is what race means to me. When you talk about being a racist, I was saying you can't call this racism. This was evil. This wasn't based on the skin. You couldn't tell who was Jewish.
This wasn't based on the skin. You couldn't tell who was Jewish.
I'd like to see us lay to rest this whole notion of anti-Semitism. The one thing that is incorrect statement, because the whole idea of a Semites were people who lived in southwestern Asia, including northeast Africa and the Arabian Peninsula, who spoke Ugaritic, who spoke Ge'ez, who spoke Ethiopic, spoke Hebrew, who spoke Arabic. Those are our people. We are a Semitic people, therefore we cannot be anti-Semitic. Ashkenazic Jews are calling us anti-Semitic. We cannot be anti-Semitic because we are the descendants of a Semitic people. Let's lay that to rest. That was a weapon in the hands of the Jews since 1870. They used it against other people, but it doesn't work against people in Northeast Africa.
They had to delve deeply to figure it out.
They had to delve deeply to figure it out.
It's right here. It shows you who the Hamitic person is right here. And of course, the BASTAR. Then it shows you who the Niger or Nigger or Niger is. And then it shows you who the Oriental is. So you see the admixture. And this is where we get certain races of different classes of people. Okay.
Then tweeting an apology saying in part, the Jewish people around the world have always had my support and that will never waver. I'm sorry for the hurt I have caused. And the next day opening The View with this.
I said that the Holocaust wasn't about race, and it was instead about man's inhumanity to man. But it is indeed about race, because Hitler and the Nazis considered Jews to be an inferior race. Now, words matter, and mine are no exception. I regret my comments, as I said, and I stand corrected. I also stand with the Jewish people, as they know and y'all know, because I've always done that.
By the end of the Holocaust, just 77 years ago, 6 million Jews had been murdered.
That might not fit exactly or feel different than the way we think about race in 21st century America, where primarily it's about people of color. But throughout the Jewish people's history, They have been marginalized. They have been persecuted. They have been slaughtered in large part because many people felt they were not just a different religion, but indeed a different race.
The head of the Anti-Defamation League warning anti-Semitism is still a real and present danger.
We need people on good faith on the left and the right to call this out forcefully, fully, without hesitation.
And studies show an alarming decline in knowledge about the Holocaust at a time when anti-Semitism has surged to unprecedented levels. The FBI saying Jews are the most targeted for religious-based hate crimes in this country. And George, as you heard there, Goldberg saying she regrets her comments and any hurt they may have caused.
The Holocaust is big business because Germany so far has given the Jews, I think, at least $200 billion. So it's big business. And some of you are still getting $1,000 a month. And a lot of people don't know this. And then people don't realize who brought the slaves to America. They were Jewish ships. They were Jewish ships. They were Jewish ships. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's a whole nother thing. Let's take a break because what the issue that we're talking about today is whether or not there was a Holocaust. We'll talk about slavery, who brought them here. Today is whether or not there was a Holocaust. We'll talk about slavery, who brought them here. We'll be back after this. Not much.
Let's be truthful about it, because the Holocaust isn't about race. No, it's not about race. It's about man's inhumanity to man. That's what it's about. Let's talk about it for what it is. It's how people treat each other.
Whoopi Goldberg facing growing outrage after declaring the Holocaust was not about race, despite 6 million people who were murdered for being Jewish. Here to react, Fox News contributor and civil rights attorney Leo Terrell. Good morning, Leo.
Hi, Carly. Thanks for having me.
I was so happy to see you. What's your reaction to this situation?
Well, let me use Whoopi's word. Let's be truthful. She marginalized the death of 6 million Jews. And what makes it insulting is she provides cover for those who are anti-Semitic.
She provides cover for those who are anti-Semitic.
Dissent expressed in the United States against policies of the Israeli government. People here are called anti-Semitic. What is your response to that as an Israeli Jew?
Well, it's a trick. We always use it. When from Europe somebody is criticizing Israel, then we bring up the Holocaust.
Ashkenazi Jews are calling us anti-Semitic. We cannot be anti-Semitic because we are the descendants of a Semitic people. Let's lay that to rest. That was a weapon in the hands of the Jews since 1870.
And in this country, people are criticizing Israel, then there are anti-Semitic. And the organization is strong and has a lot of money. And the ties between Israel and the American Jewish establishment are very strong, and they are strong in this country. As you know, they have power, which it's okay. They are talented people, and they have power, money, and media, and other things. And their attitude is Israel, my country, right or wrong. They identify fiction, and they are not ready to hear criticism. And it's very easy to blame people who criticize certain acts of the Israeli government as anti-Semitic.
Other people, but it doesn't work against people in Northeast Africa.
How far back can you trace your family?
Well, I think my mother once mentioned we came from North Africa. You're a king, you're also Jewish.
Jewish? Gee, that's funny. You don't look it.
Your question. What color were the original Hebrews? I have told you that we don't know that for certain. Then you can't believe for certain that Jesus was white. Just a moment. God is white. Isn't it obvious? Well, that is obvious, but we don't teaches us that Jesus was born in a region where the people had color. There's proof in the very Bible that you ask us to read in Revelation, 1st chapter, verse 14 and 15, that Jesus had hair like wool and feet the color of brass.
The lost tribes of Israel were black.
Truth has been very popular lately.
Those who really try to downplay that the Nazis tried to systemically eliminate every Jew on this planet. And here's the part that's upsetting, Carly. She'll get a pass. She'll get a pass from the Hollywood left because she's a progressive and she's black, and she'll be given a pass. They're trying to get rid of Joe Rogan, but they're going to allow her to maintain this anti-Semitic rhetoric as if nothing happened. Her apology is not enough. The damage has been done.
Yeah, that's right. Well, she was on The Late Show last night. She tried to clarify her remark. Take a listen to what she had to say.
I feel being black when we talk about race, it's a very different thing to me. Mm-hmm. So I said that I felt that the Holocaust wasn't about race.
Jewish sources. Okay, this is a used book. We're gonna go to, let me see, right here. Arts. And remember, this is Jewish sources. Okay? What do we have here? Negroes, not white people. Okay? So we're gonna go back to the contents right here in their own book, page 95. Okay? Of course, we see this is probably scrubbed, or typification. But right here, Arts. The land of Khazar in southern Russia extended from Caspian Sea to the Black Sea as far as Crimea. The Khazars, were a semi-nomadic pagan tribe whose chief was the Kagan. I'm not going to read all of this, but paganism was on its last legs. Kagan Bulan of the Khazars, who reigned over his people in the middle of the 8th century, decided to abandon his pagan faith, but could not make up his mind what new faith to adopt. Okay? So in other words, they adopted the Jewish or Israelite religion or belief system, Judaism. Okay? Let's see, in this period of glory for the autonomous Jewish community in Babylonia, the religion of the Jews, or Israelites, and their way of life attracted many persons. Numerous tribes in the Arabian Peninsula and in the various lands of the Near and Middle East adopted Judaism. The most famous of these were the Khazars. So, are they a race? Or is it a religion?
People were very angry, and they said, no, we are a race. And I understand. I felt differently.
She says that she understands the criticism. You don't think that's an acceptable response, or do you?
Oh, absolutely. She used her race. I feel that I'm black. See, she's using her race as a cover. Let me sit here and say this. Whoopi Goldberg missed, apparently, world history class in high school. Okay, I feel as a black man, as a civil rights attorney, and as a history teacher, that what she said was anti-Semitic.
Jesus can't be black.
What do you mean he can't be black?
He can't be black. Maybe we could make Jesus another color.
How about white? But Jesus was black. We could probably do Italian.
Jesus was Middle Eastern.
In addition to Arabs, the Middle East has always had many people of African descent whom you would consider black.
In addition to Arabs, the Middle East has always had many people of African descent whom you would consider black.
Racist and downplay that 6 million people were murdered, and their ancestors will never have any type of satisfaction of resolution. It's an attempt to ignore what happened 70 years ago. This world should never forget that a madman tried to eliminate a religious group off the face of this earth. Eliminate a religious group off the face of this earth.
People were very angry, and they said, no, we are a race. And I understand. I understand.
Eliminate a religious group off the face of this earth.
To do this, then let's be truthful about it, because the Holocaust isn't about race.
On Monday's show, the host of ABC's The View inaccurately claimed the Holocaust was not related to race.
This is crazy, and her race will not protect her. I don't know what ABC is going to do, Carly, but let me tell you right now, just apologizing and hiding behind her race is not enough.
Yeah, you know, I was going to ask you about that, because what are your thoughts really on the calls to fire her? Because on one hand, like as we're seeing, she really upset a lot of people for what she had to say, but conservatives also speak out against firing people for saying controversial things or making mistakes.
Listen, I'm not calling for her termination from The View. I think that her late night apology, a lot of people didn't see it. This is what I'm calling for. Treat liberals the way you treat conservatives. Treat Whoopi Goldberg the way the left is treating Joe Rogan. Let's have a uniform fairness of letting people speak the way they want to. And we all know what Whoopi Goldberg said was racist and anti-Semitic.
My final thought, as we can see in the media, they use different types of schemes and tactics to really diverge the topic in hand. Is being Jewish a religion or a race of people? We know from historical context that the Israelites were people of color, but to the mass majority of people, they do not understand. So there's no such thing as anti-Semitic. To be Semitic really is to be a person of color. And you got to look at the history of us in the Americas and what our ancestors went through. I guess you can call that anti-Semitic.